Hey everyone, welcome to West Coast Wednesdays. My name is Justin Anchetta from SF Garnish Music Production and Soul Graffiti Studios. We've been doing West Coast Wednesdays web stream every Wednesday throughout 2021, and we're going to be transitioning this to the first Wednesday of every month in 2022. I hope you guys enjoy the show. Today we're going to be talking about working with Ableton Live 11 Suite and getting into some of the basics in BPM syncing, importing a track, and then also doing some time corrections to then import into Final Cut to work with video. You can do video within Ableton, but I personally, if I'm doing a music video, I like to export the master and then bring it into Final Cut. So I'm going to kind of go through some of those processes today and get into it like this. Here we are in Ableton 11. And what I've already done here is I just have a basic one track. This is kind of a master. We're going to probably do more of a master of this, but for now I did a kind of a basic master of a new song. And I'm going to just do this import again so you guys understand what I did. I'm going to go Command T to create a new track. Once I'm highlighted on a track, it'll pop it right down to the next track. These are shortcut codes. If you guys learn your shortcut codes, it's going to help your workflow and allow you to be a much better engineer for your own music and people's music that you work on. So here we are. Now I'm going to import. So this is my Corazon project, the most recent. I'm going to import it right over here. Now, I already know that this track is at 132 BPM. So, but if this was at, let's say 140, for example, a different time, or let's say it's a bit way different, right? It really changes, right? The time stretching of what the song looks like, okay? And another setting that I have, I go Command Tab, right? To switch between seeing this view or your effects down here in this bottom area. Now this is not warped yet, and this is a setting that I have in my preferences, Command comma, to get to my preferences. There's a area here that you can change how you auto warp, or auto warp long samples is off. So when I import a long sample, such as a full song, it will be off. And the reason why I want that is because I want to line this up where I want it first, okay? And then I find out the BPM. You can also listen to the song and tap tempo the BPM. That's an option. Or if you already know the BPM, you can then put the BPM in, make sure that you're listening to the click track.
Heart of the matter, how we live.
You can hear
what is the best way to take and give. Corazón, corazón, puedo quedarme en mi corazón.
Okay, so this click actually starts right in tempo, but if it doesn't, then you can go Command 4 and nudge this over just a little bit. I'll probably zoom in and I'll slide this to the right, to the appropriate. Okay, I'm gonna go back and Control Z that. So that's how you import. I did not name this file up here, or this track, until I imported, because if you don't name it, it will name it for you. That's a new feature, I believe, in 10 or 11 and above, which is super helpful and makes it easy to import. Okay, so now that I've shown you that, let's just go back up to this track here that's already in sync, and it's the same master. I brought it to the front, timing wise, where it says start. I put a start and an end by putting these markers in. By putting a marker in, you just highlight anywhere, and you press set, and then you can go click on it, Command R, and then name it what you want. Okay, and then that marker can help you figure out different parts of the song. Press backspace for delete. And so I came in here and I found as part of the song, I put two markers in, and these markers signal an area that I might want to cut out for a video. Okay, it might be a little bit too long for a music video. So I'm going to go take that two markers, which is exactly on the BPM. So it should cut really nicely. And I'm going to go Command Shift Delete, Command Shift Backspace, and it deletes the time. Okay, so it brought that forward right there. Okay, so now the whole song got a little bit shorter. It's still over 5 minutes long, and that's another reason why I bring it to the front markers here from the very beginning, is you can really see your time markers here. This is great for having a mix and then bring it into a new master chain and start kind of figuring out what you want to do with it. Often for a music video, I might kind of bring it down to a more succinct song length. And so let's go ahead and figure out another part of the song that we might want to cut out. That's kind of peaking for you guys. Turn off this click up
la conexión con la tierra.
This is a new song from Honey of the Heart, the group that I'm in. We made this down in Mexico. If you like what you hear, we'll have it probably finished in the coming weeks here. And I believe we'll have it on our Bandcamp by the 4th of this month, a couple days for a pre-release. Because it's a day that Bandcamp gives 100% to artists.
Where we stand, corazón, 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 corazón. Puedo
There's
quedar
another part where it says corazón quite a bit right here. Let's find out how much we want.
Corazón, puedo quedarme en mi corazón.
That's the cut we have right there.
Corazón, corazón, puedo quedarme en mi corazón.
That's right, you can kind of do a better flow of that.
Mi corazón.
You can also make this a lot bigger just by dragging this down to work on one mastering file.
Corazón, corazón, puedo quedarme en mi corazón. Corazón, corazón, puedo quedarme en mi corazón. Corazón, corazón, puedo quedarme en mi corazón. Corazón.
So this is quite a bit of corazón. It's probably for a live show. People singing along, it works out. But for a music video,
Corazón,
you might just want to cut this short.
corazón, puedo quedarme en mi corazón, por favor.
So let's try this again. So I didn't make markers, but I know that this is to the click, so I can just go Command Shift Backspace and then zoom in to this exact area, and then we can kind of see where that can really make the most sense.
Por favor, corazón, por favor, puedo quedarme en mi corazón.
Ah, so it's actually one more. That was my mistake.
Por favor, mi corazón, por favor.
All right. I like to kind of make this have a little bit more of a transition, allowing that first beat to be at 100% right there. So I put it right before that.
Por favor, por favor, miel en mi
All right. So what we have here is two transitions. I like to make notes of exactly where I cut because if I go back into the song and I really want to know where this is on the main mix, I want to and do it for everything. That's a possibility. So I'm going to go in here at 345 as a cut. And the other one, zooming in again, is at 410. 345 and 410. 345 and 410. Let's go ahead and make a note of this. I just go into my notes here, make a new one. Corazon cuts at 345 and 410. Cool. Alrighty, 1111. And if there's a Marin Medkey in the house, this is the time to help out. Okay, I'm going to get in here. And so what I'm doing here is I'm going to go ahead and just kind of listen to these transitions one more time. And then I'm going to talk about bouncing this and also changing the BPM to do special effects in Final Cut on our video, so that when we're singing along to the song or doing something like that, that we can have that slow motion effect going on.
Corazón, corazón, puedo quedarme en mi corazón. Corazón, corazón, puedo quedarme en mi corazón.
I think that actually I might transition right here.
Corazón.
Command Shift Backspace. So this is that idea I have, is being able to come from the largest spot of the song and break it down to the smallest part of the song. And doing the exact same thing where we kind of bring it just before. You know what? That actually might be better right on the down. This is also a part where if you go Command D, you might have one hang over as the other one keeps going. So in that scenario, I'm going to go ahead and close these down a little bit. Let's change the color of these so I know what's going on. So this is going to be the other track. I'll change this to right-clicking it, blue, bluish. Okay, this is another way that you can do a transition. This is something that I do often with videos to have some pullover. All right, Juniper, you're going to have to leave this area, please. I'm live right now on the show. Go over there. Dad, can you go get Marin, please? All righty. This is when you try and do a live show with the child at your feet. So that transition kind of sounds better to me. Have that hangover. And then let's go ahead and just keep it up there. This is obviously something that I'm just doing for testing purposes. In the actual final mix master, I'm definitely going to go into the main multi-track mix of it and then do all the transitions exactly how I want them with certain instruments hanging over. So let's go ahead and listen to this transition from the largest part of the song to the softest. I think I like this better. And the transition's at 330 instead. I'm going to make sure I make that note right here. Alrighty.
Heart of the sky when the rain comes down, wash us with patience when we're breaking now. Heart of the mystery where you come from, return to when your day is done. corazón,
Timing of the song is,
puedo
instead of being at
quedarme
520,
en mi
it's all the way down to like
corazón,
435. So almost a minute less.
puedo quedarme en mi corazón, por
For a music
favor, por favor.
Every 10, 15 seconds of music can be a lot of extra editing.
Mi
Because you have all of the visuals on top of the audio. All right, so now we're looking at these two tracks with the transitions that I like. And this is done kind of fast. I would probably take more time on this, and obviously with the multi-track mix of it. But what we talked about, for anyone that just joined us, we talked about doing imports of a mix or a master, and then cutting time down, and also beat syncing the click track. The reason why we want the click track to be synced up, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, that click right there, is because when we do this edit, we want all of these right here to be warped, okay? So these warps are in time. So these tracks now know, it's saying it knows where the click is versus where the waveforms are peaking. You can kind of see these little dots up here. These dots weren't here before. Now it's recognizing, okay? It kind of locked it in. The reason why I want that locked is that if I change this BPM faster or slower, I want the entire song to move faster or slower together. So we're at 132 BPM, and this is just a trick that I've done in previous music videos. I might as well give you one example of this really quick. Let's go ahead and get into, I'll just type in Justin Anchetta, Better Predicament. Okay. So I'm just going to play you an old music video from 2013 that used this effect, so you guys can kind of see what we're going to go for. Now what's going to happen here is we are changing the speed of what I'm singing along to, or what the artist is singing along to allow for, if there's movement around, right? If there's a bird flying or a dancer, that everything's in slow motion, but there's the ability to have the mouth, right? The lyricist synced up. So I'm going to go ahead and just bring this into the screen down here, and you guys can check this out here. So this is at 2/3 speed. I believe that's what it's called. I'll explain a little bit more as we move forward. Synced up so that she's actually playing to a track that's actually much faster, and then we slowed everything down by 2/3 the speed. And I'm going to walk through the process of how to do that. So obviously the dancer behind, all the movements look like we're in slow motion, including the voice.
Summer to fall rain and back into winter again as we start to display.
But it's synced up.
We're overconsumed. We're breathing these fumes.
So what we're going to do here is
getting
make this
harder
effect.
to live
We're going
with
to do a
the
math.
thinking of you.
Okay. Let's go ahead and get our calculator out, just so we can both visually see this a little bit. Calculator's bouncing, bouncing, bouncing. There we go. All right. So we have 132 BPM. And what we want to do is divide that in half. Divided by 2 is 66. Now times that by 3, 198. Okay. So just do that with whatever BPM you have. And this is going to make it a third times faster, so that then you can slow down to 67%, 66.6666% on Final Cut, and everything will line up. And it's very easy to sync your video and your audio to your slowed down vocalist or performer. You know, even the clarinetist here, Morgan Nilsson, right? Her fingers were matching the melody right away. That said, the performers have to actually sing it in a faster speed, and we're going to kind of get into that just in a little bit. So remember this number, 198. We're going to go in here to the song, and let's go ahead and just make a note of this. We're going to say file, save as. It says Cortazone video project. I'm going to go 198 BPM in the title so that we can then change our BPM. And remember, we're already warping these longer tracks, right? I selected all of them and pressed warp. And you can see that warp is now on down here. So when I press 198 BPM up here, okay, it keeps these in time synced. So listen to how fast this is now.
Corazón, corazón, puedo quedarme en mi corazón. Corazón, corazón, puedo quedarme en mi corazón. Heart of the people, heart of the land, awareness of
They
where
have to
I
actually
stand.
sing that fast. I say they, as Mara and I have to sing that fast along to the song. Our video is going to be at that speed of 198, and then we decrease our video down to 66% slowed down. Now, people that are doing video out there, or if you're trying to communicate this to your videographer, you want to make sure that you record at 4K if you can, or at 60 frames per second instead of 30 frames per second. Because what happens is when you take it down in slow-mo, your frames per second also come down. Okay, so if you're at 60 frames per second and you diminished 66%, you're going to be then at 40 frames per second, which is also above 30 frames per second, which is kind of industry standard these days, right? A YouTube video is often 30 frames per second at 720. Obviously, it would be great to be able to have things at 4K put out there. I would really suggest recording at 4K as much as you can, and then you bring it down, to the 1080 or 720 in your export for YouTube or for Vimeo for your actual release. All right, so let's get back into the song here. And for all you guys that are just joining us, please check out our different social medias down below. We have this on Twitch, Facebook, YouTube, going out to all of our social medias at SF Garnish and Garnish Central. Thank you to the Garnish Music Network for having us out every first Wednesday of 2022. That's what's happening this year. And here we are. We're back into our track, and we're at 198. Now we're going to try and export this track so that we can bring it into Final Cut. So it doesn't, I used to always think that you had to highlight everything that you're exporting. That's not the case. It's just really taking it from the top to the bottom, or the front to back, and then Command Shift R is a shortcut code to your rendering. And if this was an official bounce, I would put this as a waveform at 24-bit depth, no dither right here. But since this isn't official, I'm just going to do a quick bounce of the MP3, okay, which is just going to be a shorter version. This is also for us just to listen back and see if all of our people like this edit that I'm doing today for the music video. So I'll probably do two bounces. I'll do one at 132 and 198 so that people can hear it. So then we would press export, and let's make sure that we bring it to the right location. So notice how this is already in the Cortazone project, and we're going to say mix 01 and then press save. And when you're bouncing an MP3, it's going to be a lot quicker than a waveform. So this is just something that happens really fast. If you do a waveform, it's probably going to be, a couple minutes versus 30 seconds to 40 seconds. I'm going to get into a couple different files in Final Cut. I know we mostly teach digital audio workstations, Ableton, Logic, and Pro Tools, mixing and mastering, sound design, everything with audio. But I am going to get into a little bit of video today because a lot of you guys out there could benefit from learning just that language can cross over into the visual world, right? A lot of your digital audio workstation, right? Maybe it could be a digital video workstation, and you can kind of get into the next type of, would it be like a DVW? So Final Cut's what I use, but there's also Premiere. I love Final Cut because it's pretty easy to sync audio files using your audio of each camera. And I probably won't get into that today too much. So we just bounce this file and we know where it is. It's in our Cotozone main project and it's named at 198 BPM. Okay. So let's go all the way over to our project here. Okay, so this is an example of being inside of Final Cut. And I have a whole track here. It's a different track because this is just where this track is at in regard to the production. And I want to kind of walk you through a little bit quicker today on all these steps. So essentially, I'm going to go ahead and just do a quick walkthrough of how I got to here. So I would just drop the Cotozone, if this is Cotozone, right down here into the file and then sync them together. Or you could also drop it into this side area and select all of your video that have audio as well with this and say, make a multicam track and sync them together. And that's where you can instantly switch between different camera angles. All right. So that's a quick walkthrough. A basic example of this is, let's go ahead and let's go. So this is a compound and I'm going to, let's go ahead and Command-Shift-7, I believe it is. So it's not showing all the different takes because it's all inside here. So this is actually already synced together. Let's find a multicam shot. That's what we want here. I'm not even sure if I used multicam. I guess I may have. I did many compounds in this specific one. Compounds are shown right here inside these folders so that we can do some overlays, green screening. All right. So I'm not sure how good video is going to, I'm going to be able to edit in video mode while I'm doing live stream. It really depends on how much my computer can handle. So I might just be doing a kind of a talk through of some of this and maybe I'll get back into the audio. Who knows? So this is obviously showing, you know, which cameras. This is actually showing the multi right here. And this is showing the audio clip and then the video right here. And if you had multiple videos, then you can kind of just cut between takes. That's a benefit that I really like about Final Cut. Obviously, if you want to learn more about this, check out YouTube and tutorials on doing, what are they called? If I go like this, select these two and go new multicam clip. So check out something about making multicam clips in Final Cut. Type that into Google search and that will help you there. Okay, let's go ahead and just listen or just see how these are working. I'm also going to leave that view so that we can kind of watch this. As a matter of fact, I did a bounce so we can kind of see this effect on here as well. Let's go ahead and just bring up the bounce. It's always nice, like if you're working with things that your computer is not able to hold, you can always, there's two ways, right? Bouncing videos down and then watching them back. Or with the audio in Ableton Live, you can freeze different tracks to then work on other tracks and have more CPU usage. In Ableton 1011, you have your CPU little reader. You can see which effects are taking the most and freeze those tracks or disengage those effects. It's nice to keep those effects on though, so that you can actually hear them in your mix. Okay, I'm going into Roll Down the Coast. This is what we're going to do as our little demo here. Official Edit 01. Open with. I like to use QuickTime. Just the easiest. It just opens up. All right, bringing this down here. Let's go ahead and make this as big as we can. And we'll just kind of do a little walk through of what's working, what's not. Obviously this edit is pretty like not dialed because it starts. There we go.
I wanna go, roll down the coast to where the big waves roll. I wanna see all of the trees from Mesa to Mendo to bring me
some of
to
these
this gratitude right here in this moment
jumping
with
in where I don't want them
I wanna
to.
go,
This is where I'd be
roll down
taking
the
my
coast
notes,
to where the big
timestamps,
waves
right?
roll.
So I saw some jumps in right in the beginning.
The coast to where the big waves roll. I wanna see all of the trees from Mesa.
So I don't really need that 36. Going to my notes, and this is going to be video edit notes. 36. Justin green screen. Take out. So obviously this green screen effect is pretty hard to do and make it look good. So a lot of these will be just taken out, I think. But just going through. Now this is on the ATV quad in Mexico. And as you see, any shots that are done down there, we had the sped up version, which is what we just talked through in Ableton, right? And then sang along to that difference. So you can kind of see how the hair is being blown slowly, but our mouths are moving directly with the song. 66%.
This gratitude right here in this moment with you. I wanna go, roll down the coast to where the big waves roll. I float a prayer meant to reach through the warm breeze in hopes to find you. Breathing gratitude to our souls and more. Appreciate the smallest things when we're here for.
Sit back, relax, and find peace to be safe. Standing still and
So you
moving
can see in
slowly
these
like
ones
the
that
big
we use
trees
just a regular track.
Teach our children
And we
to play
didn't
like
actually
dirt,
have
water to make mud right.
the,
Mess
track
turns to
at the
laughter,
higher
divide turns to prayer life. Respect throughout community, differences bow down to. History shows us how we must find paths to strive through. Tall forest and underbrush, push back and hack through. Machete-like tools for visions to get to.
Sometimes you might
Seeking
wanna
a
use
path
both
to symbiotic
styles.
collisions. First past the atoms and merge with these visions. Get past the divide and work through this vision.
Work through this vision. Live strong in the way you really want to. Keep forward and appreciate impromptu.
Anytime that
Gratitude
there's
coming in
something
from the
like a
outside.
dancer or
Gotta
wind
look
blowing,
for what you really
definitely
wanna
a
see.
moment where you
Got
can
the
use
big
effects.
beat coming from inside
The
you.
waves in the background
Got the
moving
feeling
slowly.
and that's always a good clue.
So that's one of the
There's a
reasons why
beat
we use
capability
it
of through and through. Shut the flame and I reach for me, I reach for you. This is what we need. The outside reflected by the inside.
I'm going to be making notes on a
This
different
is what
page
we
here
see.
so that I can
This is how we pray. This
vote
is what we
about it and
need.
make notes.
The outside reflected by the inside. This is what we see. This is how we stay. Collision of rhythm, we're feeling the vision. It's hitting the ceiling, static, bringing ill. If you shake up the break up, take up space and just buck up, push up the envelope. You can't make this stuff up.
So I can flow
So I can flow.
with my soul.
Keep up with my soul.
So I can hope.
So I can hold.
Shot right here, going sideways and
My
actually
heart
kick
hope.
into a
My heart
teach our children to play like dirt and water to make mud right. Mess turns to laughter and divide turns to prayer like respect throughout community and differences bow down to. History shows us how we must find paths to strive through. Tall forest and underbrush push back to hack through. Machete like tools for visions to get to. Seeking a path with symbiotic collisions. Burst past the atoms and merge with these visions. Get past the divide and work through this vision.
Outside reflected by the inside. This is what we see. This is how we pray. This is what we need. The outside reflected by the inside. This is what we see. This is how we stay.
All right. And some B-roll. Cool. So I'm just making some notes here, but really what I'm showing here is a couple different strategies on how to utilize your CPU usage for audio and video, doing specific bounces or freezing tracks, and then also syncing audio and video using some math, right? So at 132 BPM, we brought our audio up to the 198 and then bounced it down right there. I'm going to go ahead and do one more bounce here at this because I want to show this little edit to all compadres of the group and just do an MP3 bounce of this one more time. And this one will be 132 BPM video project mix 1. So we have both options to listen back to those. Okay, so just a little recap on what we were talking about today is we were going through the digital audio workstation Ableton Live, importing a mix or a master of a track and having it not in warp mode until we know that the BPM is synced up. Once the BPM is synced up, we can press warp on that track and then warp that track to different tempos to help with the effects that we want to use in post-production with our video, right? And part of that is to actually do the video at the faster speed and then bring it down to the right speed. And that's really knowing the mathematical equation, right? Going from 100% down to that 1/3 lower, which is at 66.6%. That effect allows you to still be able to sing to the track. I think that a track that I remember seeing this happen in was Coldplay music video. They did this in their probably most popular music video. Let's see if it just pops up here as I look, and if it happens. Let's see. Maybe we can ask Marin. Are you over there, Marin? What's that Coldplay song that where he's walking down the beach with the slow-mo? Yellow. That's what I'm talking about. So this is a great example of like one camera video. 2011. I could have sworn it was happened before that. All right, so once this starts, I'm just going to have you just listen to and watch just a little bit of this. And we can even kind of guess, is it at that 66% or is he even doing like 50%? I have done 50% before, but in regard to singing along, it's very difficult to play and sing along double time to songs sometimes, but that actually might be the case. So let's go ahead and bring this in as we are. So obviously,
everything you do.
slow mo is happening.
Yeah, they were all yellow. I came along, I wrote a song for you, and all the things I swam across, I jumped across for you. Oh, what a thing to do, 'cause you were all yellow. I drew a line, I drew a line for you. Oh, what a thing to do. And it was all, it's true. Look how they shine for you. Look how they shine for you. Look how they shine. Look how they shine for you. Look how they shine for you. Look how they.
Cool. Just wanted to throw that one out there because that is, I think, a pretty influential, or also a good example of just a simple one-channel music video that can be used in. All right, so we just bounced a regular version of the song at 132 BPM and the 198, which is that third higher in BPM, so that we can do potential music videos like that to the track. All right. So once again, my name is Justin from SF Garnish Music Production, and we are here not every Wednesday, but every first Wednesday of the month in 2022. So please check us out on our social media, our Twitch, Facebook, and YouTube, streaming live from SF Garnish and Garnish Music Central. Thank you to the different locations worldwide. We have 8 locations worldwide. If you guys want to get involved with audio production, mixing and mastering, sound design, please contact us. We have some short courses that are easy, 18 to 36 hours, and our longer courses are a 120-hour producer program and 360-hour academy program. Our academy program it could be done very fast in 6 months, but our most used time is about 1.5 to 2 years, and we'd be happy to help you out. Our location is based in North Oakland, California, Northern California. There's also a spot in LA, Nashville, Miami, Florida, New York, the UK, I think Germany, one I think in Spain, or is that coming? One over in, anyway, check out the website. There's 8 locations worldwide, and we're looking at possibly opening up some more. If you guys have some ideas, please let us know. If you guys aren't in any of those main cities that I was talking about, you can also take online courses. If you want to contact us, please do so, and we'd be happy to help you out. I think that we're most known for our boutique studio and in-person classes. Our class sizes are averaging, before the pandemic, it was averaging about 5 or 6. During the pandemic, it went down to all online, and then to about 2 to 3 per class. And now it's back up to about 3 or 4 per class. So if you guys want to get these, it's almost individual classes, but the price, instead of being individual $90 an hour, it ends up being like $30 an hour. And to get that rate, please check out our studio, sf.garnishmusicproduction.com. All right, so we have just a little bit more time here. If you guys have any questions, please comment. And if I don't get back to them during the show right now, I'd be happy to just answer them in the comments. And I think that all the comments through Restream get streamed out everywhere else. So I'd be happy to answer those in that way. If you are mastering this track, this is the mastering track down here. What I love to use for mastering is iZotope. And I'm going to go into my plugins here, and we can look through here and find the iZotope 9 elements that I like. Another thing that I like to use is effects. These little area up here. Let me try and see if I can zoom in. Yeah, so that kind of zoomed in. There we go. A little bit better. So in these effects up here, you want to create an area where you can right-click on anything and then put it into a color and then rename these colors what you want. I have this basically in specific instruments. The rack, custom racks, I really use a lot because these are racks that I specifically like to use with instruments that I have here in the studio. The charango, the didgeridoo, flute rack, and even putting a flute rack over a different instrument might be something that, you know, might be what's needed for the song, right? So it really depends. So in the effects rack right here, or in the effects kind of favorites, I have my Ozone 9 elements, and let's zoom back out again so we can see all this. And I drop that into my mastering chain. And this is where I'm just going to go through some of the basics here that I like about Ozone 9, which there's some really cool presets. Just go ahead and bring this into different areas so you can see all of it. And all-purpose mastering, you can go through those, or genre-specific mastering. Okay. Let's say just go into folk, and then you can kind of see how your equalizer changes. If you want something that really increases the low end, thicken the energy. There's something that kind of brings up the low. This also has pops out the highs here. Now the imager right here does a lot. I really love how as you pull this out here, let's go ahead and just take this imager off and on and see what this sounds like. I'm going to turn the imager on. I'm going to turn this down as I talk so you guys can have this balance of both. Check, check, check. All right. Hoping that you guys can hear me well enough. And I'm going to turn this imager on here, and I'm going to spread it from the width of kind of mono to then stereo. Okay, and we're going to hear that difference. You can also see it bouncing out here, right? Now this is also a track that I've already put this effect on. If you do it ×2 like this, you're going to start hearing some distortions and effects. I think that's probably happening because of the maximizer, which is this compression that's happening over here. When you double compress something, that's when you start, getting your limiter and peaks. It's going to give you less room to have that clarity. It's going to start pushing it so much that it has that kind of the crunchy effects. So obviously, mastering a master, not the best idea. You want to master your mix, right? Only use Ozone one time, but super helpful if you just click right here. It then pops up with all of these effects here: equalizer, imager, maximizer. You have other things you can also add in as well, but essentially those are some great ones to start with. All right. My name is Justin Anchetta from SF Garnish Music Production. Thanks for being here for West Coast Wednesdays. Every Wednesday from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. And actually, we sometimes stop a little bit early like today, but please give yourself a warm round of applause for sticking with us and learning a little bit, not only about digital audio workstation Ableton Live, but going into Final Cut Pro as well. And we'll see you again in the near future. Have a great day.